Hi friends, today we are going to see the past year NEET questions for the chapter Human Reproduction. Today in this video we will cover part 2. Let's begin with the first question, which was asked in the year 2011. The figure given below depicts a diagrammatic sectional view of the female reproductive system of humans. Which one set of the three parts have been correctly identified? So again you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 parts. So now we have to identify the right one. So let's take 2. We have the right option is option B, where you have 3, right? So this is called as infundibulum. Fourth one is fimbriae, and the fifth one is cervix. Okay, so these 3 parts are only correct, while the rest are wrongly matched or written. Therefore, the right answer to this question is option B. Next question here. The part of the fallopian tube closest to the ovary is dash, and this question was asked in the year 2010. So what is a fallopian tube actually? What does it do? You must have heard about it. Fallopian tube. What happens in the fallopian tube? The egg that is fertilized every 28 days, what you call it as menstrual cycle, the fertilized egg goes and waits there in the fallopian tube for any fertilization to happen. The fallopian tube also is known as the uterine tubes or the salpingens, are uterine appendages. Okay. One of the 2 fallopian tubes transport the egg from the ovary to the uterus. So I said, right, they wait there. In case there's no fertilization, automatically the egg undergoes rupture, and that's what comes out as menstrual flow for women. Okay. Now they're asking us the part of the fallopian tube that is closest to the ovary. Okay. So which part is that? It is the infundibulum. We already saw in the earlier question when we marked the part, right? The part of the fallopian tube closest to the ovary is infundibulum. It possesses a finger-like projections called fimbriae that help in the collection of the ovum after ovulation. It leads to a wider part of the oviduct, which is called as ampulla. The last part of the oviduct is the isthmus and has a narrow lumen and joins the uterus. Therefore, the right answer is option B. Next question here. Fertilization in humans is practically feasible only if dash, and this question was asked in the year 2016. Okay, we have to analyze the statements here. The sperms are transported into the vagina just after the release of the ovum in the fallopian tube. No, the ovum and the sperms are transported simultaneously to the ampullary isthmic junction of the fallopian tube. That is right. Simultaneous process it is. The word ampulla is derived from the Latin word meaning flask. Being the second portion of the fallopian tube, it is an intermediate dilated portion which immediately curves over the ovary. This is a common site of the human fertilization, as both ovum and sperms are simultaneously transported here. So as I already mentioned, it's a simultaneous process. It's not that sperm goes first, the ovum comes second, nothing like that. Okay, therefore the right answer to this question is option B. Next question here. Select the incorrect statement. Again, you have to analyze the statements here. FSH, as we all know, it stands for follicle stimulating hormone. What does LH stands for? Luteinizing hormone. Okay, so let's analyze now. The first statement, FSH stimulates the steroid cells which helps in spermiogenesis. Wrong. LH triggers the ovulation in ovary. Wrong. LH and FSH decrease gradually during the follicular phase. That is said to be incorrect statement. Okay, now here they are asking about the incorrect statement of all. If you take the other 3, they are correct. Okay, why I mentioned wrong in the beginning, if you see, they're asking us about the incorrect statement. So I said wrong. The right answer is option C. For that, to differentiate that, I told you. Considering the female reproductive endocrinology, ovulation is a presence of, you can call that as presence or process of the monthly release of the viable oocyte from the ovary between the time of menarche and menopause. During this time, there is a usage of the production of LH and FSH that is termed as gonadotrophins, thereby initiating estroidal and progesterone secretion, that is estrogen and progesterone secretion from the ovary. Both the hormones are very important when it comes to menstrual cycle. Therefore, they will not gradually decrease. Therefore, the right answer is option C. Next question here. Which of the following cells during gametogenesis is normally diploid? Di means two. During gametogenesis, which is diploid, which has two? So during gametogenesis, it is a spermatogonia which is diploid because of the undergoing process of meiosis. That is why it is diploid. Therefore, the right answer is option B. Next question here. Which of the following events is not associated with the ovulation in the human female? Now you have to analyze the statements here. I think the question is very easy for you. Full development of the Graafian follicle, okay. Release of the secondary oocyte, okay. LH surge, okay. So if you take decrease in the steroidal, that is the decrease in the estrogen level, is what is not associated with the ovulation of female reproductive system. In human female reproductive system, during ovulation, LH surge takes place due to the hypersecretion of estrogen, which induces a positive feedback to the anterior pituitary for the secretion of LH. So the two important female sex hormones are progesterone and egesterone. They're very, very important. It's not just, see, to be very frank here, these hormones are simply called as female sex hormones, but it's not just that. It just takes care of the female body in a very well way. Those hormones not just sees only to the activity of the reproductive part, but also sees to that the female reproductive, apart from female reproductive system, these hormones have other functions which are very, very essential for the female body. Only after menopause, you must have heard, after the decrease, when the production of these two hormones stop, they actually get cancer, very prone. Women after menopause, they're very prone to cancer, cervical cancer and so many other things. It's because of these hormonal imbalance. So understand how important these hormones are essential for a female. Okay, so therefore the right answer to this question is option D. Next question here. In human females, meiosis 2 is not completed until dash. What is meiosis first of all? What is the difference between mitosis and meiosis? We have two life cycles in our body, right? Mitosis actually comes for a single cell replace, while meiosis is called the cell cycle. Okay? Meiosis is involved with the reproduction part. Now, for example, mitosis, if you see, now for example, you fall down, you get hurt, the skin gets replaced there. So all that is associated with mitosis pathway, while meiosis is completely exclusive for the reproduction cycle. So in human females, meiosis 2 will not be completed until fertilization takes place. Therefore, the right answer is option A. Next question here. Select the correct option during gonadotrophin activity in the normal pregnant female. So we have to analyze here. High level of FSH, LH, no. High level of FSH and LH facilitate the implantation of embryo. So if a woman is pregnant, say FSH, LH are common hormones that a woman will have, even if she's pregnant or not. But a woman who is pregnant will have a particular hormone, or you call it as gonadotrophin, which is very exclusive only during the pregnancy time. You call that as HCG hormone, and that is the diagnostic test, or that is a confirmatory test that they do to find out if a woman is pregnant or not. That hormone will be secreted only if a woman is pregnant. So you call that as HCG. Okay? Any idea what is a full form? Any idea? H stands for human cortico, so C stands for cortico and G stands for gonadotrophin. High level of HCG stimulates the synthesis of egesterone and progesterone. So HCG stands for human cortico-gonadotrophin hormone, that is exclusively found only if a woman is pregnant. Otherwise, you don't find this hormone. Okay, and as I already mentioned, it's a confirmatory test for a pregnancy test. Therefore, the right answer to this question is option C. Next question here. What is the correct sequence of the sperm formation? Okay, in testis, the immature male germ cells of spermatogonia, as I already said, it's diploid. Spermatogonia is diploid, so it will be 2n. Multiply by the mitotic division and increase the number. Some spermatogonia, known as primary spermatocytes, divide by meiotic division to form a secondary spermatocytes, which will be haploid n. Okay, The secondary spermatocytes undergo secondary meiotic division to produce a spermatid, which are transformed into spermatozoa by the process called spermogenesis. Now we should know what the correct order is. Spermatogonia, spermatocyte, spermatid and spermatozoa. Therefore, the right answer is option C. Next question here. Which of the following best illustrates the feedback in development? During embryonic development, the primary organizer signals the development of the another organ or the tissue by secreting a chemical factor. So now you should know what the answer is. Just look at which one will match. The right option is option D. As tissue X develops, it secretes something that induces tissue to develop, Y to develop. Okay, next question here. The figure shows a section of a human ovary. Select the option which gives the right identification of A and B with function and characteristic. So what is A? A, I think they have not correctly matched. Okay, but B is correct. It is a corpus luteum. What does corpus luteum does? It secretes a hormone, female sex hormone, progesterone. B is only correct. A is wrong, the explanation that is given to your right side. Therefore, the right answer is option B. Next question here. Which one of the following statement is false in respect to the viability of mammalian sperm? So what do you think about the sperm? They can be viable how many days or hours? They are usually viable for 2 to 3 days, it seems. Okay, therefore the statement which is false, if you see, it is option D. Sperms must be concentrated in a thick suspension. It is viable for 2 to 3 days, so you don't have to put it in suspension. Next question here. The secretory phase in the human menstrual cycle is also called as dash. So let me talk about the menstrual cycle here, a few words about it. As we all know, a woman undergoes menstrual cycle, and the cycle is it's a 28-day cycle. Okay. After every 28 days, the female human body will produce an egg. Okay, it's a process. It's a responsibility of the female reproductive system. The egg that the egg that was produced will go settle in fallopian tube and wait for fertilization to happen. And if there's no fertilization, automatically the egg will rupture and undergoes. That is what comes out as menstrual cycle. But many have overbleeding and all that effects is because of the certain hormonal imbalance that they have in the body, because certain women are prone to have irregular cycles. That is also there because of the hormonal imbalance, and might be some other issues also. Now the secretory phase of the human menstrual cycle is called the luteal phase and lasts up to 13 days. The menstrual cycle is a scientific term for the physiological changes that can occur in a fertile woman with the purpose of sexual reproduction and fertilization. The secretory phase of the human menstrual cycle is called as luteal phase and lasts up to 13 days. During the secretory phase, the endometrium. So what comes out as bleeding from the women's system is the endometrium, predominantly endometrium, because the endometrium will act as a covering. So when the egg gets ruptured, the endometrium will also get ruptured along with it, and it comes out of bleeding. You must have seen tissues coming out. All that are nothing but the endometrium that comes out. Therefore, the right answer to this question is option C. Okay. So with this, we complete the part 2 of human reproduction system. I hope everybody enjoyed the video and you understood whatever has been explained to you. We'll meet in the next part of the same chapter. Okay, thank you.